And welcome back to another episode of the Gold Bar Podcast. My name is Juan Barrenche, and on today's podcast show, we have a very special guest, as we always do, because we always have special guests on these podcasts. Cyrus Mohseni, how are you?
I'm doing well, bro. How you doing?
I hope you're doing well, man. You're a good person.
You're an amazing person.
I appreciate that, man.
I appreciate you for having me on, dude.
Listen, this is going to be podcast episode number 2 for us. I was on your podcast the first time. This go around, we're going to be talking a little bit slower because apparently I talk pretty fast. And we're going to make it more about, what do you want to talk about?
Dude, you're the host, bro.
Listen, when I think of you, I think business. I think equity. I think mergers and acquisitions. I think massive deals. But as of lately, you told me you want to get more present in your life.
Honestly, yeah, 100%. Like where I'm at mentally right now is like I've been on a real note. Like you and I have had this conversation, and it's like I think we've been pushing, and I'm at this point in my life where I'm like I'm just enjoying what I have because like on a daily basis, that's all we have, right? Is like what's in front of us. And to be even, get a little bit more, like the person you're with at any given time is the most important person in your life, right?
Correct.
So for me, I'm really leaning into that on a whole personal note.
And I think it's important to have because especially as a driven entrepreneur like yourself and myself, we're always trying to set the bar higher and higher. And when we were 20 years old, all we wanted to do was get to that point where we could get to the next level. And it's almost like a moving goalpost.
Well, dude, like here's the reality. Like I had a dream of buying a G-wagon.
Yep.
Right? I wanted the matte black G63 AMG, lifted, all custom red interior, blah, 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 blah.
Fully loaded, yep.
I went and bought that cash a couple years ago.
Uh-huh.
Then I'm like, okay, I want to go, and that was one of my top goals from when I was younger. I always said, I'm going to buy a G-wagon. This is what it's going to look like, yada, yada, yada. Then I went, and my other big goal was pay my mom's house off. I went and I did that, bought my mom's house. And then after that happened, which are great accomplishments, after that happened, I was like I still feel like there's still a missing piece here.
Yep.
Like what's next? And when I really reflected in on that, I was defining my success by these outward things that I was chasing.
Correct.
I was defining success by, when I have the G-wagon and I have the Rolly and I have this and I pay my mom's house off and blah, 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 then I'm successful. But what I realize is the moving goalpost, right?
Yep.
It will continue to move forever.
Correct.
And for me, I'm like, no, like I can't do that anymore, right? Like, so I switched my definition of success. I completely threw out all definition of success in the fact of, it's all material things. And I shifted my definition of success to positively impacting one person on a daily basis, period. So
we're talking relationship currency.
That's it. All I'm talking about, not even so much currency, just what I'm talking about is just one positive action can literally change the world. That's the butterfly effect. Like that's the whole thought process behind
Correct.
What I do, right? Like is if I can positively impact your life today, right? Then you go and you positively impact one other person because of that.
Correct.
Then this is how we actually change the world.
Correct.
And this is where I think that I've leaned into so hard because I've been very, very successful on the business side.
Correct.
And it's great. And I love it, and I'm so thankful to be there and have that and yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, like, I think this is what matters.
Correct.
This conversation, the conversation I have with other people, right? Like, these are the conversations that actually matter.
And I tell everyone that, like, is getting into this at such a young age. Like, we have Gio, who's here recording this entire thing. He's 20 years old. And I was like, the fact that you're just in this moment right now and you get to have this job itself, being surrounded by top producers and just experiencing like this incredible culture around you, like that is the end goal. Like you've made it. And like Gio has these massive goals as an entrepreneur and he wants to get to so many places. But I try to remind them like, hey, like once you get to this point, you're just going to move it back a little bit further.
That's it.
A little bit further and a little bit further. And I think for like a lot of people in real estate, it's like, let's get to like 100K a year. Yeah. And once you get to 100K a year, I promise you, your life doesn't seem like that different. Then you make it, let's get to 500K a year. And you get to 500K a year. And it's like, it's just always one of these things where like, what are we actually chasing when all is said and done? We're chasing a feeling. But if we could just understand that that feeling is being surrounded by the people that you love and that you enjoy spending time with, and we could live that now, well, what ends up happening?
Exactly. Well, like, and here's the reality. Like, when you really break it down, you're typically trying to fill a void of something with material successes.
Correct.
Whether that is, me trying to prove that, for me, right, as a coming from playing soccer, being a professional athlete, getting a car accident, ending my career ending, right, to getting into real estate, I felt like I have, and this is my own mental and battle, because I'm a big believer in, like, life's an inward journey, not an outward journey, right? Like,
correct.
But my battle was, I truly thought, like, I need to prove to everybody that I'm still good enough.
Yep.
And I didn't realize that until very recently. Like, I didn't realize that until I did that. I bought my mom's house. I did the car, yada, yada, yada. I didn't realize that, like, that's what I was trying to fill, is that void, right? Like, that void of I'm not good enough. And I'm going to prove to everybody outside that I'm good enough, and maybe that'll show me that I'm good enough. But what I realize is it's really here.
Yeah.
It's really inside that I got to fix before I fix all this other stuff on the outside.
Correct. And we see so many entrepreneurs building these massive companies, and obviously they sell out for hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yep.
Like what do you think is going through their minds when they spend 20, 30 years building something, and they wake up the next day, they have all this money in the bank, and they don't have, like, that job to go to as far as a CEO or building that business? Like what do you think is the end game when people are just kind of stuck in this, not a rat race, because they've skipped the 9 to 5. They're obviously very wealthy and they're doing their own thing, but, like, they're stuck in a different race, like the entrepreneur race.
Well, it's pretty interesting. Like, I mean, that's a whole different conversation. But, like, I mean, I consult with a lot of these people that own these 100 million, 200 million, blah, blah, blah dollar companies, and, like, or startups that are crushing it.
Yep.
120, 200, 500 million valuations. And I have these conversations outside of, in front of the cameras and stuff with these owners. And what I realize is, it's like, we're all chasing the same thing. Like, you really break down life. What's life about? Like, we're born and then we die.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to enjoy their life. And people choose that success means this, and this is how I'm going to enjoy my life. You're chasing enjoyment of life typically, right? And for me, I thought that the enjoyment of life would mean, if I get these things, then I'm going to enjoy my life. But what you realize is, when you get these things, you still feel the same way. So in order to actually enjoy life, you have to do the inward work.
So everyone's chasing their own definition of success, and we all define success based on our own past experiences.
Correct.
And our own beliefs, and really our environment. And that's the crazy part. Like, everyone's meaning, although it's different, is still oriented towards the same projection, which is happiness.
Correct. I think most people are chasing happiness in life, like, period, end of story. I think that's what most people are. They're getting their job. The reason they go to a 9 to 5 job is so that they can make money, so that they could support their family, so their family could be happy, which would then make them happy, so on and so forth. Yeah. But what they don't realize is they have to make themselves happy before they can help anybody else become happy, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is such a thing, especially in our culture, that I've, like I told you, like, recently just been really, like, sick of, is, like, this culture is, like, consistently, like, selling something, consistently, like, oh, I got to be the next big thing. I got to have the nicest this. I got to have forever. You will chase that. Yeah. Because as soon as they make the nicest iPhone last year, they just came out with a new one yesterday.
Well, look at billionaires. I won't say names, but, like, you build the biggest company on earth, and then you try to conquer a different planet. It's like, it just never ends,
Correct.
Take the planet, then we take the galaxy, then we take the universe. It's like,
you're consistently going to chase something else if you don't do your inward work.
Yeah.
And this is where I'm, like, really leaning into recently, like, more than anything, because of and recently, I mean, the last couple of years, I've really been pushing into that like thought process of, like, look, like, I truly have to be, Cyrus has to be happy before I can make Juan happy.
Yep.
Right. And I still can't make you happy, but maybe I can positively impact you that leads you to have a thought process to get there. Right.
Correct. There's an interesting book called Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs. And I'll just go ahead and summarize it like in theory, but like when you cover your basic survival needs, you now elevate your goals to something else, whether it's money, it's status, it's fame, it's recognition. Yeah. Once you cover all of that, and once you've covered everything when it comes to love and relationships, and you really fulfilled every single part of your life that you need to become happy, now you start chasing meaning. Yep. So let's talk about that. What's the meaning behind everything that you're doing? Because you're involved in so many ventures, you're investing in startups, you're doing real estate investing, you have your own brokerage. Like when all is said and done, obviously we're all chasing the same thing, which is happiness. But what's the meaning behind this when, like I said, 100, 200 years from now, people are looking back like, who was Cyrus?
That's a good question. For me, I look at it as, when I am gone, will this world be a better place? When I leave, will this world be a better place? And if I can confidently say on a daily basis that I'm doing that, then I feel great.
I love it.
And I will never regret any decision I made or anything like that, right? I'm a big believer in like ego. I believe ego is the absolute devil.
Yeah.
Ego
the faster we learn how to kill it, the faster we can start.
Correct.
In the moment, yeah.
And the fastest way to kill ego is through gratitude on a daily basis.
100%.
Like if you just so ego's the absolute devil. But every day, if you kill ego, right, with gratitude, with look, I'm blessed to be here, so on and so forth, yada yada yada, whatever you want to say.
Correct.
Like then that kills that ego, so then you can be grounded again, and then be able to be in a way of giving.
Yeah.
Right. Someone had told me this. Actually, one of my clients told me this, and he was like, the coolest thing about like nature is it's all in giving.
Yeah.
Right. The bees, they pollinate, and then they give, and then they create this honey, and this honey's given, yada, yada. You could go through all of these things. Yeah. But in order for everything to work, we need bees. Yeah. And bees give. And then you have the plants that give, and then they give oxygen to us, and yada, yada, yada. Like everything is forgiving, but in human nature with ego, we say we want. Yeah. Before we give. So if we can learn to give before taking, I think the world would just be.
And the irony is, once you learn how to do that, you start receiving more.
Correct.
And then as you see the people that are building these companies, what they're doing is they're adding more value to the economy than anyone else is in regards to that one product or that one service. They become these billionaires, and what do? They start philanthropy and work, and they start giving it all away. So
yeah, because you realize that at that point, amongst tax benefits and yada yada yada, like you realize, like, shoot, like I have all this, now what?
And what's the feeling you get when you give something away?
What do you mean? What's the feeling?
What's the feeling you get when you give something away? When you donate to charity? When you help someone else?
Oh my gosh, it's honestly, it's the best feeling in the
happiness.
World. It's it. That's it. It's
and
the
that's
best.
The entire cycle.
Yeah. And that's, I think, like if we can learn to live into that just as a human race more, I think the world would just be better. So to answer your question, that's all I want. Like when my life's over with, like I hope that the world's just a better place than it was when I started here.
I love it, man. Just to wrap up, what is your one word of advice for someone that is in real estate, they feel stuck, and they're looking for some clarity on what to do in order to get to the next level?
I think that it depends on what you define that next level as. So again, we talk about success being whatever your definition is, right? Yep. So I believe everybody, in this room, you and I, like we have different definitions of success. So one, like being clear on that definition of what success is for you.
Okay. And when he says clear, write the actual thing down and put a date behind it. Because I think a lot of people have dreams, but if you want to make it a goal, you have to define it, like put a number next to it, and then put by the day that you actually want to accomplish it. So.
Yeah, so 100%. Like write it down. Writing something down is very powerful. What I do, and you'll see it like on my social, I do it all the time, especially, is like I'll say I want to do something, and I literally just post it on social, and I'm saying I'm doing this. And then it's like also it holds me accountable. Yeah. Right? Like because now everybody knows it. So I can't escape it now. Yeah. I got to do it, right? Yeah. So that's a little hack that I do but like I would say define what your definition of success is. If your definition of success is close 100 million in real estate, cool. Let's visualize it. Let's map it out. Then let's execute. I think if we do those three things, we can accomplish anything in the world, right?
Cool.
Visualize, map it out, execute. But then you have like if your definition of success is 10 million in real estate, that's cool too. Correct. But whatever you want to do in the industry, whatever you want to do in life, I think it's very important to be clear on what you want, right? Like, and that was something that from a young age, I was very clear, like, I want X, Y, Z. Now, what I realized is I was chasing the material stuff that now when I got it, I'm like, okay, now I just want to impact people.
Yeah.
You know? So I think that the advice would be set a clear goal, visualize what that goal is, put a plan together, and then just go out and execute it.
And find whoever's done whatever you want to do and just ask them for advice.
And 100, that is the biggest hack in the world.
Biggest hack in the world.
Like if you don't have, and people are always like, oh, I got to find a mentor, and they like they'll like message me, can you be my mentor? I'm like, that's literally not what it's like. It's sometimes just like you're a mentor in some of your in some things in life that I'm and then on other things in your life I'm a mentor for you.
Correct.
Right? Like that's just part of
my mentors don't even know that I'm their mentee. I'm watching them off YouTube. I'm reading their books. Like it's a whole entire
Correct. So find someone that's doing what you want and where you want to be and lean into that. You know.
Cool. How can people find you?
Easiest way, Instagram. It's Cyrus Andre at Cyrus Andre, CyrusAndre.
Perfect. That pretty much wraps up this episode of the Gold Bar Podcast. As always, follow me on Instagram at Juan, Juan, Gold Bar. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and make sure you tune into our next episode where we continue to add value to help agents build systems to scale out of production.
Appreciate you.
We out.